Hello, and thanks for stopping by Seven Corners. This is the area of our website where we share tips on planning special events, meetings, and conferences. Now, some of the tips that we'll share with you here are straight from textbooks, but all of the tips are based on our experience. I'm Tony Scurry, owner and principal planner of 7 Point Planning Incorporated. And today's tip that I would like to share with you is on how to plan a meeting on a budget. Now, when you think about shaving dollars off of a budget, you often think about or compare that to the quality of the program. Today, I would like to share with you 4 areas on where you can shave dollars off of your budget, but not jeopardize the quality of your program. Now, the first area I'd like to talk to you about is AV. Now, when you think about going into a hotel property, planning an event, you often think that you have to use the AV provider that's in-house to that hotel property, and that's not the case. So consider outsourcing your AV services from a third party that's not a part of that organization. So do some pricing, some comparative pricing on the AV services of 2 or 3 other AV providers and see what it will cost for them to bring their services into the property where you're hosting your meeting. The other thing that I would like for you to consider about using AV is consider using your own equipment. Oftentimes with LCD projection, for example, LCD projectors are going to cost you anywhere between $100 to $200 per day per room for your meeting. But you could purchase that same quality LCD projector for somewhere between $150 and $200, have it for all of your meetings, but also save on that per day cost. So your savings will be substantial in that area. The next area I'd like for you to think about when you think about cutting dollars is your food and beverage. Now, the first thing that you have to understand is you have to know what your food and beverage budget is before you can do this. So when you think about shaving dollars and you look at the menus that the hotel property are providing and you want something of that same food of that same caliber, but you can't afford it, go to the chef and ask the chef what type of alternatives they can provide to provide those same types or that same quality of food at a much lesser price. And the other thing with food and beverage is when you purchase your beverage, always purchase your beverage based on consumption. When you do that, you save in not having to pay for beverages that are not consumed. And you can always monitor how your beverages are being consumed throughout the tenure of your program and start cutting back as you start reaching your spending limit in the beverage area. The next area that I'd like for you to consider when you think about cutting costs is with signage. Now, signage might not be a huge cost the first time out, but as you redo meetings, if you produce signage that is not event or date specific, you can reuse that signage for your next meeting. And the other thing with signage, think about how you can make it flexible. So consider directional signs where you have arrows that have Velcro on the back and you can adjust the arrows to point them in whatever direction you need them to point in. You can use those in different venues and redirect your traffic at any time. And the final area I'd like for you to think about when you think about cutting costs is with technology. Rethink how technology can help you with savings. Think about doing hybrid meetings instead of an in-person meetings. For example, you would do video conferencing for a portion of your meetings and for your attendees, and you could sell those registrations at a discounted rate, but still provide quality programming for people that can't attend the meeting, cutting your overhead cost as well. And the other area with technology that I'd like for you to consider is consider using electronic communication versus printed communications. Some advantages of using electronic communication are you have the ability to track, it's traceable, you can get an immediate response from it, and just not to mention electronic communication, the cost is pennies per person compared to the dollars per person of printed communication. Those are the four areas that I'd like for you to consider when you have to cut the cost of your meetings. Now, understand that this is not all encompassing, but if you consider those four areas, you'll never jeopardize the quality of your program. Now, always remember that creating an event is not just about planning or going through the motions of planning. It's about creating an experience for your guests and your attendees. Again, I'm Tony Scurry with 7 Point Planning. Thanks for listening.